Hi everyone, this is Amy from the Helms Academy, and today we're talking about divisibility rules. So today we'll be talking about how you can divide numbers and what numbers you can divide them by. So when we talk about dividing, think about it as separating something into equal parts. So just like the image we have here on the screen, if I have 20 apples and I divide them evenly into 4 parts, that would mean that I have 5 apples in each part, and you can see that in the visual. So that means that 20 divided by 4 is 5. So when we're thinking about divisibility, we want to figure out, do I know if a number is divisible by 2 or 5 or 10? And how do I know that? Because the quicker you can get that information, the easier it is to do some more complex math. So let's look at some of these quick tricks to learn divisibility. So one thing you should always know is that every number is divisible by 1 and itself. So whether that number is as small as 2 or 4, they're divisible by 1 and the number itself. So if you have a number as big as 2,360,000, then that's divisible by 2,360,000 and also by 1. So you can always divide a number by itself and by 1. Now, when can you divide something by 2? Well, only if it ends in an even number. So keep in mind, the even numbers would qualify as 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So if a number ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, you know that it will be divisible by 2. Now, when is something divisible by 3? This one's a little trickier, but it's when the sum of the digits is a multiple of 3. So sum means that you're adding the digits together. So let's look at an example. If we have 249, when I add those together, 2 plus 4 plus 9 equals 15. So 15 is a multiple of 3, which means that 249 is also divisible by 3. So same thing, 63, we do 6 plus 3 equals 9. And I know that 3 times 3 is 9, right? 9's nice because it's small enough to work with, but that means that also 63 would be divisible by 3. And even if we got as big as 1,111,116, when I add all of those together, they add up to 12. And I know that 12 is 3 times 4. So that means because 12 is a multiple of 3, that 1,111,116 is divisible by 3. When something is divisible by 5, it ends in either 5 or 0. So you can think of that logically by just thinking, okay, all the multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So when you count by 5s, every number in that sequence, all the way to infinity, are going to end in a 0 or a 5. So when do you know if something is divisible by 6? Well, it's divisible by 6 if you can divide it by both 2 and 3. Makes sense, right? Because 2 times 3 is 6. So that'll be a little easier to remember. So let's look at the number 936. Well, we know that it would be divisible by 2 because it ends in an even number 6. And now we just need to figure out if it would be divisible by 3 also. So how do we do that? We add together our digits and see if the sum is a multiple of 3. Sure enough, 9 plus 3 plus 6 is 18. And 18 is a multiple of 3. So that means we can take this information and we can decide that yes, it's divisible by 2, yes, it's divisible by 3, so it's also divisible by 6. Divisible by 9. Well, this one's very similar to our divisible by 3. If the sum of the digits is a multiple of 9, then we will be able to divide the number by 9. So let's look at some examples. If we said 27, well, 2 plus 7 equals 9. And we know that 9 goes into 9 one time. That is a multiple. And so we can use 27 as something that is divisible by 9. 819. So 8 plus 1 plus 9 equals 18. And so since we know that 18 is a multiple of 9, it's 9 times 2, that means that 819 is also divisible by 9. And same thing, 9,342. We add 9 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2, we get 18 again. And so we know that 9,342 is also divisible by 9. And what's divisible by 10? Well, anything that ends in 0. And similar to the 5s, we're going to think about logically what it means to count by 10s. So if you think 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, they all end in zeros. So if we keep adding 10s, we're going to keep having 0 as the last number, and we'll know that anything that ends in a 0 will be divisible by 10. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you learned some new tricks for figuring out which numbers are divisible by which other numbers. I hope you'll check us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel to get all our latest updates, and by looking at our Instagram, Facebook, and our website at helmsacademy.org.